Good day everyone. So today our group will be discussing the travel of Rizal in Paris, Brussels, and Biarritz. So here is our topic outline. For Rizal in Paris, the reporter will be Aromin Alexander. The next one in Belgian Brussels will be Santiago John. And lastly, for Biarritz, that will be Gerardo Justi.
Now I'll be reporting about Rizal's travels in Paris. He arrived in Paris, France on March 1889, but due to the many tourists in the city, he mostly stayed in Valentin Ventura, who first published his annotation, Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. He was also transferred from different hotels and boarding houses multiple times, and one of these houses that he was transferred to was the house of fellow Filipinos, Capitan Justo Trinidad, the former Gobernador Civil of Santa Ana, Manila, and Jose Albert, a student from Manila. On March 19, 1889, he organized the Kidlat Club, which was a social club that aims to bring together the young Filipinos in the French capital so that they could enjoy their stay in the city during the duration of the Paris Universal Expedition. The members of this group was Antonio and Juan Luna, Gregorio Aguilera, Julio Lorente, Pedro Rojas, Fernando Canon, and Lauro Di Mayuga. On May 6, 1889, he attended the opening ceremonies of the Paris Universal Exposition, which was seen by almost 200,000 people. And there was the great attraction there, the famous Eiffel Tower made by Alexander Eiffel. There was also an international arts competition where Felix Hidalgo won second, Juan Luna and Felix Padre de Tavera both settled for third, but Rizal's art piece did not win due to it not qualifying for the exhibit. On August 1899, he scheduled the holding of the inaugural convention of the International Association of Filipinologists. The association aimed to study the Philippines from a scientific and historical point of view, but the convention did not materialize due to the French government discouraging the holdings of conferences by private organizations during the period of the International Exposition. On September 21, 1899, he founded the Secret Society of Redención de los Malayos, which means Redemption of the Malays. It was patterned after the Freemasonry, which had various degrees of membership, with the members not actually knowing each other. The most famous members of the Redempción de los Malayos was Gregorio Aguilera, Jose Mabasa, Julio Dorente, Marcelo del Pilar, Mariano Ponce, Baldomero Rojas, and Jose Maria Chonco.
Rizal in Brussels. In January 28, 1890, Rizal left Paris for Brussels, the capital of Belgium. The two reasons why Rizal left Paris for Brussels is the cost of living in Paris was expensive. The second one is his literary achievements, particularly the drafting of his second novel, El Filibusterismo, were impeded by the bustling life of the city. The life of Rizal in Brussels. Rizal was accompanied by Jose Albert when he moved to Brussels. They lived in a modest boarding house on 38th Rue Philippe Champagne, which was run by two Haysby sisters, Suzanne and Marie. Later, Albert left the city and was replaced by Jose Alejandro, an engineering student. In Brussels, Rizal was busy writing his second novel, which was a continuation of the Noli. He was never idle for an hour. Aside from writing its chapters, he wrote articles for La Solidaridad and letters to his family and friends. Thus, he wrote to Antonio Luna, "I go to the clinic, I read, I write, I go to the gymnasium and to the armory. Speaking of shooting, I am sending you a target containing 10 bullet holes. It was 7.5 meters from me. At 25 meters, I can put all my shots into 20 centimeter target." Speaking of Rizal's fragility, Jose Alejandro, his roommate in Brussels, said, "In Brussels, we took our meals in a house and Rizal on one occasion suggested that we eat pancit. We were spending so much a day and so we spent one day's appropriation for the purchase of the necessary ingredients. It seems, however, that he committed an error in his calculations this time, for we spent 2 days appropriation and the pancit came out more than we intended to have. In order to remedy the error we made, we're compelled to have pancit for lunch and supper for 2 days."
Rizal was hard at work finishing Noli Me Tangere, the sequel to his first book. For Rizal, there was never a dull moment. In addition, he penned messages to his loved ones and essays for La Solidaridad. In his capacity as a doctor, he occasionally visited the clinic. He participated in gymnastics at the gym and target practice and fencing at the armory for fun. Rizal intended to return home. He could not continue to write a book when his friends, family, and parents were being tormented in the Philippines. Rizal wrote to Ponce on July 9, 1890, opposing Graciano Lopez's proposal after learning of his intention to travel to Cuba. Articles published in La Solidaridad. A La Defense, April 30, 1889. This was written in response to a piece by Spanish author Patricio de la Escosura that was published on March 30, 1889 in La Defense and was anti-Filipino. The second one is La Verdad para Todos, May 31, 1889. Spanish accusations of the Filipinos' ignorance and depravity were addressed by Rizal. Third one is Vicente Barantes, Teatro Tagalog, June 15, 1889. Barantes' ignorance of Tagalog theater is exposed by Rizal. The fourth article is Una Profanacion, July 31, 1889. Bitter criticism of the Frayas for depriving Mario Herbosa, Lucia's husband, a Christian funeral. The fourth article is Una Profanacion, July 31, 1889. Bitter criticism of the friars for depriving Mariano Herbosa, Lucia's husband, a Christian funeral after he passed away on May 30, 1889 from cholera. The fifth article is Verdades Nuevas, July 31, 1889. A response to Vicente Beloc Sanchez's letter, which claimed that the Philippines' peaceful and maternal rule would be destroyed by reforms, and which was published in Madrid newspaper on July 4, 1889. The sixth article is Crueldad, August 15, 1889. A masterful defense of Blumentritt against the vile actions of his adversaries. The seventh article is Differentias, September 15, 1889. A response to the biased article Old Truths, which mocked Filipinos who demanded reform, that appeared in La Patria on August 14, 1889. The eighth article is Inconsecuencias, November 30, 1889. Antonio Luna's reply against Pablo Mirdea's criticism in Barcelona publication El Pueblo Soberano. The ninth is Ianto Erizas, November 30, 1889, denouncing the racism of the Spanish toward the dark Filipinos. The 10th is Ingratitudes, January 15, 1890, a response to Governor General Valeriano Weyler, who warned the populace in Calamba not to be deceived by the vanity of their ungrateful sons. Rizal criticizes Madrid Filipino in gambling. May 28, 1890, Rizal reminded the Filipinos in Madrid that they had come to Europe to work for the freedom of their countries, not to gamble, in a letter to Marcelo H. del Pilar. Bad news from home while Rizal is in Brussels. Letters from home which Rizal received in Brussels worried him. The Calamba agrarian trouble was getting worse. The management of the Dominican hacienda continually raised the land rents until such time that Rizal's father refused to pay his rent. Other tenants, inspired Don Francisco's courage, also refused to pay the unreasonable rents. The Dominican order filed a suit in court to dispossess the Rizal family of their lands in Calamba. Meanwhile, the tenants, including the Rizal family, were persecuted. Pasiano and brothers-in-law Antonio Lopez and Silvestre Ubaldo were deported to Mindoro. Another brother-in-law, Manuel T. Hidalgo, was banished for a second time to Bohol. The sad news from home depressed Rizal. His heart bled to know the sorrowful plight of his parents, brother, and brothers-in-law. From Brussels, he wrote to his sister Soledad on June 6, 1890. In his moment of despair, Rizal had bad dreams during the nights in Brussels when he was restless, because he was always thinking of his unhappy family in Calamba. Although he was not superstitious, he feared that he would not live long. He was not afraid to die, but he wanted to finish his second novel before he went to his grave. His preparation to go home. In the face of the sufferings which afflicted his family, Rizal planned to go home. He could not stay in Brussels writing a book while his parents, relatives, and friends in the distant Philippines were persecuted. Upon hearing that Graciano Lopez was planning to go to Cuba, he wrote to Ponce on July 9, 1890, opposing Graciano's plan of action. He said that Graciano should not go to Cuba to die of yellow fever. Instead, he ought to go to the Philippines to allow himself to be killed in defense of his ideals. Adding, Rizal said, "We have only once to die, and if we do not die well, we lose an opportunity which will not again be presented to us." In another letter to Ponce, dated July 18, 1890, he expressed his determination to go home.
Hello, good day everyone, ma'am and classmates. My name is Justin Raan Gerardo, and I am here to report about Rizal's time in Biarritz, France. Before coming to Biarritz, Rizal was in an election for the responsable position in Madrid. Rizal abdicated this position after winning with the help of Mariano Pons, urging the Filipinos to vote for Rizal. But Rizal didn't want to become the cause of disunity and bitterness among his countrymen, so he decided to abdicate his position. This is Biarritz in the 1890s. And this is Biarritz now. I mean, just look at it. Look at the color, look at the water, look at the sand, look at the flora. It looks good. I mean, it's no wonder why Rizal and the royalties wanted to have a vacation here in Biarritz. This is a route from Madrid to Biarritz, which is around 500 kilometers. Biarritz is a seaside town on the southwestern front Basque coast. It has been a popular resort since European royalty began visiting in the 1800s. and now it is a major surfing destination with long sandy beaches and a fantastic climate. Before departing for Biarritz, he wrote a letter thanking his compatriots for their support in the election for the responsable position. After settling his affairs in Madrid, he boarded a train that was en route to Biarritz. There, he was a guest of the wealthy Busted family at their residence in the resort city. This is the Busted family's Villa Eliada. Rizal had a vacation in Biarritz for a month to seek solace and to recover from all the disappointments and stress that has accumulated back in Madrid with the romantic gardens, delightful villas, and panoramic beauties of Biarritz. During his month-long vacation in Biarritz, his health significantly improved and his weight stabilized, with his cheek no longer shrunken as before, for he goes to bed early with no anxiety. This is a picture of the Biarritz Gardens, a Biarritz villa, and the scenery in Biarritz. Rizal enjoyed the different bistros, cafes, sharing beers at inns, and different dresses for elegant balls. This is a picture of Rizal and his friends at a party. From the left is Rizal and his friends Paz Pardo Tavera, Luna, Nelly Busted, Felix Resurrection Hidalgo, and two other unidentified ladies. After having lost Leonor Rivera, he has entertained the thought of courting other ladies. While a guest of the Busted family, he befriended the two daughters of his host, Eduardo Busted. Rizal and the sisters fenced at the studio of Juan Luna, wherein he got close to Nelly Busted. This is a picture of Juan Luna's studio. During their time together, Rizal developed considerable affection for Nelly Busted to fill the void Leonor left behind. He described her as a real Filipina, one who is highly intelligent, vivacious in temperament, and is morally upright. He wrote letters to his friends, except Blumentritt, about his love for Nelly and his intentions to marry her. With his romantic relationship, he felt invigorated to continue his novel El Filibusterismo. This is a picture of Nelly Busted. Antonio also courted Nelly, but she was already deeply infatuated with Rizal, and thus creating some friction between Antonio and Rizal. During a party, a drunken Antonio Luna insulted Nelly Busted, which angered Rizal. This prompted Rizal to challenge him to a duel, but thankfully Antonio apologized to Rizal, and thus avoiding a disaster for the future of Filipinos. I mean, that situation seems like a play. But through all this, their love has not blossomed, for Rizal refused to be converted to the Protestant faith, in addition to the protest of Nelly's mother, describing Rizal as a physician with no stable clients, but they still ended in good terms as friends, and it ended like a play too. After so many failed romances, Rizal found solace in writing. During this, he finished the manuscript of El Filibusterismo. After this, he bade farewell to his hosts and rode a train to Paris on March 30, 1981, and stayed with his friend Valentine Venture. And thus, this ends my report for Rizal's time in Biarritz, France. Again, my name is Justin Ryan Gerardo, and I'm signing out. Thank you very much.
Get kick.